We're not going to, thank you. We're not going to record anybody else, just you and your presentation. If anybody has any questions for Dr. Barnes, please put them in chat now. And at the end of her presentation, I will start asking her all the questions. Thanks for being here today.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with the 50 Plus Employment Expo. JCA has such wonderful programs to help job seekers like ourselves. I'm a graduate of the Career Gateway program, and I also am now the facilitator for that program. And I really appreciate how JCA walks the walk in terms of, or walks their talk in terms of hiring people who are 50 and better and providing such wonderful resources to all of us who have, for whatever reason, decided to career pivot. And I am a career pivoter. So I'm going to share a little bit of my experience, but also share the success stories of others and some strategies to be helpful to those of you who are interested in going in a different direction. So again, good morning. My name is Dr. Elise Barnes, and I do small group LinkedIn trainings in partnership with public libraries, nonprofits, career development and business development organizations, focusing on job seekers, career transitioners, nonprofit leaders, and small business owners, 45 and older, and helping them get the most impact out of using LinkedIn and acknowledging their legitimate online privacy and security concerns. And as I said, I am a graduate and the facilitator for the Career Gateway program at JCA. So LinkedIn is great for career pivoting and reinvention because we live in an economy that values expertise over experience. And you can use LinkedIn to craft a skill-based message. We know that that is what the economy values because people who have much less experience than us are getting jobs ahead of us. And that's because they are marketing their expertise. I often say that if your LinkedIn About section begins with 30 plus years of professional experience, all you told me is that you're old and you worked. And that is not a compelling reason to hire you. What we really want to know not is how long you've done something, but how well you do something. Are you really good at what you do? And LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to showcase that expertise, to demonstrate that expertise 24/7 to your network because they can get this information off LinkedIn at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. or whenever they need it. And LinkedIn only knows what you tell it, what you put on it. So if you have a consistent, persistent, skill-based message, that is what shows on LinkedIn, not your age, but your expertise. And this gives you an opportunity to tell your next employer what you can do for them, since they really don't care what you've done for your previous employers. They really are coming to LinkedIn to find out, what can you do for me? The WIIFM, what's in it for me, right? That's what they want to know as your potential next employer. What do I get if I hire you? And I really don't care about what you did for the other guy. I only know what you can do for me, and you can craft a message that talks about just that. So I want to start off with a very successful career transitioner that I worked with named Carla. Carla had been in commercial banking for 30 years when I met her, but she was in a associate's degree program in interior design because she'd always wanted to be an interior designer. But, her depression baby parents didn't know that she could have a career as an interior designer and support herself. So they were not supportive of that. So they said, but there will always be banks. So you should get your degree in finance so you can work for a bank. And that's what she did for 30 years. But then after she got laid off from the bank, she decided to make a career pivot and go pursue interior design, which is what she'd always wanted to do. And on her LinkedIn profile, we reduced her 30 years of banking experience to one sentence in her experience section because it was no longer relevant to what she wanted to do going forward. Again, this is something you can do with a LinkedIn profile that is very difficult to do with a resume, right? Because you have to account for the last 15 years of your time and all of that. Well, with LinkedIn, you can minimize the things you don't want to highlight for your next employer and maximize the things that you do. So we put her portfolio on. We looked at other interior designer profiles and made sure that she was following the same companies, joined the same groups, went to the same webinars, had the same skills as her top 2 skills, and then had people endorse her classmates endorse her for those skills. And then her recommenders talked about not her banking skills, but her interior design skills when they recommended her, when they wrote the recommendations on LinkedIn. The banner behind her headshot was of an office. She followed ergonomic furniture companies. So she was presenting herself as an aspiring interior designer, right? So her profile, what she posted about, what her headline was about, was all about interior design, nothing about banking. And she had her first job with an interior design firm before she graduated. LinkedIn career pivoting and reinvention action steps. So I like to give you some action steps that you can take if you're on LinkedIn, some practical things you can do. So you can highlight and emphasize in your headline and your about section and the job description, the transferable skills that you've developed that you want to highlight for your next employer, right? And one of the ways to figure out what those transferable skills are is to look for job announcements for the position that you would like to have, and see if you have those skills, if you have been developing those skills just at a previous employer in a different capacity, but you're talking about the skills you want to use for your next job when describing what you did at your previous job. Now, of course, you don't want to stretch it until it's a lie. You don't want to ever lie, but you want to make sure that you emphasize the skills you want to use going forward for that next employer to the degree that you can when you're describing your previous positions in your experience section, but then also highlighting those skills when you write your about section and your headline. You want to demonstrate your new expertise by posting about things that relate only to the new skill. So if you're posting something, you want to make sure that you're speaking to your new industry. You're providing information and content that is of value to your new industry going forward, to your new network. You can make the skills in your skill section related to your new job and have people endorse you for those. And you can reinforce that skill-based message with also visual images. Again, the Carla story, she didn't have as her banner a bank. She had, an office building because she was doing commercial interior design. So you reinforce visually because visual images can be very powerful. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So you can also reinforce that impression by what banner image you choose. And again, this empowers you because you get to choose what that banner is. All right. So I want to address some of the biggest misperceptions about LinkedIn that also, because of these misperceptions, people don't think that, oh, I can use LinkedIn to transition because they think their profile is just their resume and a photo. And again, your resume is linked to your past, right? But LinkedIn is not just your resume and a photo. I also hear from people who feel that LinkedIn isn't useful, hasn't been helpful to them, is that they thought they created the perfect profile and like recruiters weren't knocking down their door. I didn't hear from any recruiters and I put up a profile, right? Or that it is only about employers finding and connecting with you, that the purpose of LinkedIn is for somebody to find you. That's the real value of LinkedIn. So if they didn't find you, or recruiters didn't knock down your door, then LinkedIn didn't work, right? So I want to just talk about some of these misperceptions again, how once you understand what LinkedIn is really about, the real power in it, you can use it to transition. So this misperception that LinkedIn is just your resume and a photo. The focus of your resume is your past, right? What you've done for your previous employers. But the focus of your LinkedIn profile is your future. What can you do for your next employer, right? So here are some differences between a LinkedIn profile and a resume. A resume is a list of what you've done for your previous employers, essentially. And it's essentially backward looking. It must be 2 pages. It must be in the third person. You must account for every month of your time. God forbid that you have gaps. And the emphasis is on job titles because you're trying to demonstrate that you've increased your level of responsibility. So maybe you started off as an intern and then you went to manager and then program manager, project manager, director, things like that. So you're showing this increased responsibility. And then resumes are also full of what I call resume speak, these sort of vague terms like mission-driven, results-oriented, demonstrated history of, a proven, experienced, all words that I have never known a recruiter to ever type into a search box when they're looking for someone, okay? So that's why that kind of language is of no value on a LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile should really be focused on the skills that you're offering to your next employer, not just titles, because titles are not universal. And they also do not communicate the breadth and depth and scope of your expertise. Just saying, I'm a program manager. I don't know how many people you manage. I don't know the size of the project that you manage. I don't know any information that would help me be able to place you as a recruiter. You need to provide that. So emphasizing skills, not just titles. Your LinkedIn profile is forward facing. It should be in the first person because you're telling your professional story in your own words. So we get to know a little bit more about you as a professional. You are sharing your professional story with us. And you want to leave the superlatives about how innovative and creative and marvelous you are. Leave that to your recommenders because we know you wrote this. Just give me the facts and let me conclude that you are innovative and creative and remarkable, okay? Also, you only need to reinforce the jobs or to emphasize the jobs that communicate this skill-based message going forward, right? You don't want to spend a lot of time on jobs that are off-brand, off-message, take the reader in a different direction than the direction you want to go in the future. So you don't want to do things that are off-brand. And in fact, if you are currently working at a job to pay the mortgage, like maybe a cashier at Target, but you're really an accountant, if you can volunteer as an accountant for your church or your school or some other organization, you can use that as your current position as long as you indicate that it is unpaid. So you're not misrepresenting that you're on staff. But if you indicate that it's volunteer, but then you get to talk about those accounting skills that you are now currently using just in an unpaid capacity, rather than going off brand, off message where I think you're interested in being a cashier when you're not, all right? And then your headline should focus on the skills you offer to your next employer, regardless of the job title, right? Especially if you're transitioning. The title doesn't matter. What matters is the skills you're bringing to any employer, no matter what you call me. The message of your profile should not be, I'm unemployed. Yes, you and a million other people. The question, the focus should be, here's how I can help you meet your challenge if you hire me. Here's what I can do for you if you hire me. And that may or may not be related at all to what you've done with your previous employer. Okay. The bottom line is that since your LinkedIn profile is not your resume, because what you want is someone to read your profile and then request your resume, right? You can craft a online brand message that is consistent with your future, not your past. And you can reinforce that in every section of your profile, the message that relates to your future. Remember Carla, the interior designer? Every section was related to interior design, not her past as a banker. All right. Second big misperception is all you have to do is create the perfect LinkedIn profile and recruiters will be knocking down your door. And this, the if you build it, they will come approach does not work because there are over 900 million profiles on LinkedIn. It is a huge global platform in over 200 countries and territories in 26 languages. And frankly, none of us are truly unique professionally. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that do what we do. There are hundreds of thousands of program managers, nonprofit administrators, web designers. The real question is, why would I choose you, right? And that is what you have to bring. What makes you unique that I would want to choose you? So, but LinkedIn does reward activity with visibility to make you more visible to your network, to your new network, because you're going to then begin to develop relationships with people in your new field based on the groups that you're in, based on doing informational interviews with them, right? And you can then like and post and share and make connections and comments and make endorsements and recommendations. And all of this activity feeds into the LinkedIn algorithm that will help you be more visible to recruiters, to hiring managers, to connections, anyone who's typing in a particular skill set, putting you on the radar screen of people. All of this you can do on LinkedIn. So creating a LinkedIn profile is really just the start of your LinkedIn journey. The magic is in consistent activity that is aligned with your career pivot brand message. The more active you are in your new field, the more visible you will be, the more you will be a part of that community as opposed to your previous community. And then the third misperception is the power of LinkedIn is in employers finding you. LinkedIn is a huge database, right? That is at your disposal, at your fingertips. So just using it as a job board, just finding jobs to apply for, that is the least best use of it. Because using that search box, you can find so much information about your new career that will make you a better candidate when you are applying for positions in your new career. So you can use that search box to find people, positions, employers, events, groups, all of these to help you with your career pivot. So for example, if you type interior designer or interior design into the search box and then click on people, it will bring up people who have interior design as their skill in their headline. And it will show you the ones that are first and second degree connections to you. And that's why it's valuable to have more connections, because then that will mean you will have more first and second degree connections. And these are people that you can do informational interviews with to find out, is this a career I want to go into? If you were starting this career now, what kind of continuing education would you get? What are some of the things you recommend that I do? Is there an area of this profession that's growing? You can get all this information doing informational interviews with people, and you can find those people on LinkedIn. You could also then select companies to see who's hiring, what direction they're going in, how are they projecting themselves, what are the hot topics. All of these things you can find on LinkedIn by looking at companies that have company pages on LinkedIn. Then you can click to their website, see if they're hiring, see if they have internship programs, all of these things. You can go to events on LinkedIn. And there are events going on all the time, online events, where you can, again, learn more about your profession, your new profession, but also connect with people who are also in that profession who are attending that event, right? You can also then connect with the presenter, right? Who could also be a great source of information for you. And then, of course, you can find jobs, but the real value of the jobs is not necessarily in applying for the jobs, but in finding out those keywords that you need to have on your profile. What skills are they looking for in your new profession? And you want to make sure that those skill sets are on your LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have those skills yet, then this may be an area where you want to get a certificate. Okay. And then in groups, you can join groups based on your interest on LinkedIn, and you can find the groups by, again, typing in the topic, clicking on the groups, and seeing, and there are thousands of groups on just about any topic you can name on LinkedIn. And the great thing about LinkedIn groups is you can just join the groups based on your interest. You don't need expertise to join groups on LinkedIn. And then you can connect with the other members of the group. You can invite them to connect, learn more about them, but then you can also see what people are posting. What are they talking about? So that, again, you are able to use the vocabulary and the language of your new career, and also build your network in this new career, because then those people are the ones who are finding out about jobs. And people can post jobs in groups, within groups, without having to pay LinkedIn to do it. So also you can be getting job information as a member of the group. So the bottom line, the power of LinkedIn is not in who finds you, but in what and who you can find that will enable you to successfully pivot into your new career. So I have 4 keys to career pivoting using LinkedIn. 1, focus on the top third of your profile. It's like a newspaper. The most important stuff is above the fold. On your LinkedIn profile, the most important things actually are from the About section up, the first 3 lines of the About section up, because when someone comes to your profile, that's really what they're going to see. And based on that, they're going to make a decision whether they're going to scroll down and see the rest. They may not. So if this is all you have, if they decide this is all they're going to see, you want to make the most of that. So that's everything from the first 3 lines of the About section up. Your banner, your headshot, your headline, your About section, all of this should be consistent with your new career. Use your banner and your About section to reinforce your new skill-based message. Focus on the skills, not titles. Make sure your top third highlights the skills that are important to an employer in your new industry. And again, you can find that out by looking at job announcements. You want to intrigue the viewer enough that they want to scroll down and see the rest, to see what your skills are, to see what recommenders say, to see what groups you're in, okay, what certificates you might have, okay? And focus your headline and About section on the skills you will offer to your next employer, not what you did for your last employer. And remember that your headline follows you all over LinkedIn. If you come up in a search, all we will see is your headshot, your name, your location, and your headline, okay? So that headline is your opportunity to encourage the person to want to come to your profile. That headline is so, so, so important. That is the most important thing to get right. So human beings are visual creatures. So you can also use your banner to establish and reinforce your new online brand by using an image. You want to make sure that it's not copyrighted so that you can get it for free. If it is copyrighted, you need to pay for it. You don't want a copyright violation. But here are just some images, and you could also just, capture your own image, something on take an image on a phone. But here's some examples. Kalima is in IT security, so she has the computer chip with the lock. Janaea is in nursing informatics, and so she has the word cloud that highlights the terms for her industry, like ICD-10 and EHR and HIPAA. Tom Thompson is a communication strategist for CEOs, CFOs, and COOs in life science startups. And so he bridges the gap, communication and leadership. So it says the art of communication is the language of leadership. Liz is a realtor, so the sold sign and the key to your new home. Patty is a writer and editor, so she provides content, right? And then Pamela is a filmmaker doing videos for political campaigns. So all of this is reinforced, the words are reinforced with a visual image. My next rule is to plant your flag. Plant your flag. For every section of your profile should present the same consistent, persistent message about the skill set you're offering to your employer. And you want to be specific so that, again, you will come up in a search if someone types in that particular skill set, so that the recruiter is not trying to figure out, or someone else is not trying to figure out what it is you offer. You are telling them what you offer, okay? We all have done and could do many things, but a potential employer is not interested in a laundry list of everything you've ever done professionally. They're only interested in the 2 to 4 skill sets that you offer to them. A unfocused message, a diffuse message is weak on social media. It doesn't cut through the noise. Again, people are giving you basically 10 seconds to grab their interest. So it needs to be a tight, focused message, a clear, compelling message of the 2 to 4 skills you offer to any employer in your new industry, no matter what the job title is. Focus on your expertise that you will offer to your next employer, not your last employer. And focus on what you offer to them, what they want, not what you want. My third rule is to cast a broad net. We grossly underestimate who can and will help us because you never know who people know. And to pass along job information really only requires hitting a forward on an email these days, right? So I don't need to, lick a stamp. I don't need to pick up the phone. I don't need to find an envelope. I can share this by simply hitting forward on the email. So you should connect with as many people as possible because you never know who people know, and they might know a company or know of an opening in this new career that you're interested in. And if you've been in a previous career a long time, your network is pretty much people in your previous career, but now you are building your network in your new career. All right. So invite coworkers, alumni from your school, anyone who's invited you to connect, respond to those connections, anyone who's interacted with your posts. Look at your connections to see if they have connections in the particular industry that you're looking in. But, people that we pigeonhole people and we say, oh, I just go to church with this person. Yeah, but that person has a job, or their child has a job, or they're married to somebody with a job, or works at a company. So you never know who people know. All right, and my final rule is engage. And your content demonstrates your expertise. So what you post about is what LinkedIn knows about you. So again, you want to share information, useful information about your new career in the field, in the industry that you're pivoting to, not the one you're pivoting away from. Right. And it doesn't always have to be original content. It can be a good webinar, information about a good webinar that's online that's available, or an important deadline that's coming up, or an article you found in a journal or in a newspaper that addresses that field and your thoughts on it. Because by sharing good content, you're building relationships and momentum in your new field. You're positioning yourself as a subject matter expert, someone who adds value and provides value to the people in your new network and staying on their radar screen without asking for anything. But you're demonstrating your expertise in your new field, your interest in your new field, okay? Sharing and commenting on the content of people in your new pivot network, right? Allows you to stay on their radar screen. So as you build relationships with people in your new field, you can comment on their posts, share, and add insights to demonstrate your expertise. The LinkedIn algorithm rewards activity with visibility to those inside and outside your first degree network because when your connections engage with your content, it appears on the feed of their connections. So again, when you comment, this allows your message, when you post something and someone in your field comments, it allows your message to be seen by more and more and more people. And they may be hiring, they may know of an opportunity, which they will then share with you. So the final story I want to share is my own. I was laid off from a full-time job with an educational association in the fall of 2015 after nearly 20 years of working in higher ed and 10 years in defense contracting. And after doing the Career Gateway program, I saw a need for LinkedIn training, specifically for people who are older, like myself, who are 50 and better. Because we are not interested in putting our whole lives on the web. We're not interested in the world knowing, where we're shopping, what we're eating, what we're drinking. We're not interested in that kind of engagement online. But LinkedIn is so necessary and so important for our success professionally. And so I began my business literally around my kitchen table, teaching older job seekers how to use LinkedIn for their job searches and how to tap into the power of LinkedIn. And honestly, since I started that business in 2016, I make half of what I made in my previous jobs, but I am 10 times happier doing what I do. And it has opened so many doors for me to partner with organizations that I love and respect and work with people that I love and respect, that I wouldn't trade it for anything. I enjoy what I do every day. And I have control over who my boss is. I choose who I work with and for. And it also gives me the flexibility to take care of people that I love in my life who need my care as a caregiver, like aging parent. So I do trainings with the Montgomery County Public Library for job seekers who are 45 and older. It is the second Tuesday and Thursday of every month. It is completely free. You do not have to live in Montgomery County. It is from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You register through the Montgomery County Public Library website. And this is just another resource that's available to you to get 5 hours of in-depth LinkedIn training. And I thank you for your time. And I will now entertain any questions. And please connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much for that. That was excellent. We've so many positive reviews happening in chat, and I have so many questions for you. So I'm going to just start with the questions and keep rolling through them, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to have an online presence in LinkedIn. I'd like to be private. Is it absolutely necessary to use LinkedIn to get a job?
Yes. And if you are older, the impression is that the stereotype is that we are not computer savvy, that we're not tech savvy. And so the importance of LinkedIn is demonstrating, one, that you've learned something in the last 20 years, because LinkedIn is just 21 years old. And that also you know how to use computers. And if you are not on LinkedIn, you are invisible. You don't exist for most hiring managers and recruiters because they are looking for you on LinkedIn. You have to be where they are looking for you. And they are taught how to look for people on LinkedIn. So you are missing out on a very valuable resource. My sister-in-law is a hiring manager for a nationwide, a national sporting goods company. And when she gets someone's resume, she immediately goes to LinkedIn to look for more information about them. And if they're not there, she tosses their resume in the trash.
Wow.
Okay, so it is that powerful. You really, really need to be on LinkedIn. You don't have to be on Instagram. You don't have to be on Snapchat. You don't have to be on Facebook. But if you are a job seeker, you must be on LinkedIn.
That was the best explanation I've ever heard. Thank you. What if your LinkedIn profile doesn't match your career goals and it isn't for networking? Should I be applying to jobs through LinkedIn if I want to be taken seriously for employment or income opportunities? Without being an affiliate or premium LinkedIn, is difficult to control with security for what you want out there and can't control the steering when LinkedIn navigates it for you?
Well, again, you have to remember that LinkedIn uses algorithms. So it is picking up what is on your profile, right? So you want to make sure that you're steering it in the direction that you want to go. Also, in settings and privacy, you want to visit settings and privacy because there are some levers that you can, I say you can't completely shut off all the valves, but you can tinker with it a little bit and shut some of it down in terms of what they're selling to third parties and things like that. You can't get rid of all of it, but the upside is so much worth the downside at this point. So, it's the 80-20 rule that nothing is ever going to be 100% what you want.
True.
But it's, it's 80-20. So yes, and you can safeguard your information by using a specific, setting up. I recommend, for example, that people set up a Gmail account specifically for their job search and anything related to their job search, and only those things. So that if they're ever hacked, the only thing that is connected to that is your links to websites or to LinkedIn or your information there, but it's separate from the sales from Macy's and the pictures of the grandbabies and the family reunion and all that other stuff that's on your personal email. But it is definitely a tool worth investing your time and effort in, because it's going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of your ability to communicate whatever message you want to communicate with your new network and your new employer.
Okay. And most introverts aren't active in social media and don't love to post or necessarily even network with others. What advice do you have for introverts who aren't comfortable doing these things?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is fabulous for introverts because it gives you time to think about your responses. Someone is not standing in front of you looking down your mouth while you're trying to think of icebreakers, and trying to think of what to say, and I don't know, coming up with something inane like, oh, that's a nice tie or scarf, right? So you get to, say, okay, on Tuesday, I am going to respond to invitations to connect and send messages to people, and you decide what time you feel best doing that during the day. Right? It's not you're on the spot all the time. It's when your energy level is best to deal with interacting with people, and you're not having to do it face to face, and you're not having to try to think of something in the moment. So you can think about what your response will be, and then you can respond at the time that's best for you. Okay, so I think LinkedIn is great for introverts because, again, you're not having to try to think of something to say in the moment with somebody staring at you as you would be in a in-person situation. You can think about how you want to respond. You can also, and I use these a lot, create templates where you are sending roughly the same response to lots of people, but you just personalize it by putting their name. But again, it's not forcing you to try to have to come up with something unique for every single one of them, which can be very stressful. So you can say, okay, when people invite me to connect, I'm going to send them this template asking for more information about who they are. And when I go to an event, this is the template that I'm going to send out to invite them to connect on LinkedIn. And the only difference will be for each person, I will put their name. Hi, Beverly. Hi, John. Hi, Cynthia. But the body of the message is roughly the same. Right. And so that will save you time, but also reduce the stress of, oh, I've got to come up with a different message for every single person.
Right.
So I think LinkedIn is great for introverts.
That's great. And we have about a minute left. And would you be able to jump into chat and
Absolutely.
we leave off? And would it be possible for me to copy and paste your chat answers, removing all PIA, and be able to put that and share that with everybody in my email that I sent everyone?
Oh, sure. Sure. No problem.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks, Elise. So the last question before we let you go and join chat, and then we'll have a break, everyone, is can you block select individuals versus an all-inclusive block?